Okay, welcome everybody. This is my second go around at it. Tried this last night. Thought I recorded and finished, and it didn't work. I couldn't get it onto YouTube. So we're going. We're going a second time here. So I'm going to try and get through this 10, 15 minutes tops. It's going to be mostly about NFFC FAAB. Very similar to what we have in baseball this year. So you baseball guys have a pretty good idea what I'm going to show. But I'm also going to show some frequently asked questions that we get a bunch and just go over some quick stuff here before we deep dive into the FAAB. So I am just on the home page, if you will. If you sign in, to anything on Sports Hub, this is basically the page you show up at. There's different things. What I want to show you first, I think everyone's aware of this, but again, we're just going to cover it real quick. This is your icon. If you click on that, it shows you your username, whatever, but it shows you your balance. It also shows you your credits, which we give people credits from time to time. If you are given a credit, it'll show here. It will not show here, but it will use these credits first anytime you sign up for anything. So that's where that is when if you hear us talk about that. You also see your make a payment from here, request a payout. You can also do account settings kind of stuff from here. View my transactions. So you got everything going. There's things in there. If you have questions, look at that. But that's one thing I wanted to touch on. So back to the regular menu here. I'm going to my teams gives you options now. We have baseball, football, basketball, hockey, whatever here. Old teams are here, like baseball and football. 18 future teams will be either there or somewhere else once we get those up. Anyways, I'm going to go into my teams, and then I'm going to do, for this purposes, football. I have it set up for football. As you can see, I got some demo teams here, and I'm going to use a couple different tabs because I want to show you kind of a few things. Now, we've gotten rid of the sections. If you're used to sections last year, we had high stakes, maybe cut lines, on lines, satellites. We had different things. We got rid of those sections. You are able to just drag and drop teams at your will right now. You want that team up top, you can move them around. Not that hard. You can do that. It works on the iPad, works on everything. It's fine. You can also, at some point, hide teams if you want. Let's say I wanted to hide this team for whatever reason. It's not good. You click on it, it goes away. To get it back, all you need to do is check Show Hidden, uncheck it, and then once you go back to the menu, it's there. Click off Show Hidden, it'll get rid of the other team. So that you can play around with that. Nothing too crazy there. We did the drag drop. Here's something new now. When you purchase teams, if you see here, I call this a demo team. I'm signed up for a 150 satellite. Here I'm signed up for an NFFC 50. And here I'm signed up for a draft champions, okay? All signed up TBD. That's when you sign up a registration. You just don't know what date you want, so you just sign up TBD to get it into the system. At any time, here's the little gear icon, which Tom and I talk about. At any time, you can see the status now. It has me TBD. I can change to any contest of the same type. If this is a satellite, you see it's a satellite here. This gives me all the future times that I can get into. So say I wanted to go on August 24th. I click that. I click submit. Now when I go back to my teams, you'll see that that's no longer a TBD, right? It changed to the date and time. So you can always move around in these things. I'm going to go back and set mine to TBD. I actually don't want to get into one of those. But you can always move around as long as your league's not full. That's where you move around from. So that's something that we've done. So I wanted to show you that. I just had to do that from our actual production, the live site like you guys have. I also have a development site, which we're going to do the rest of the stuff on. So here I'm moving over. I want to show you real quick. We did the move team. So here... this is basically, I'm going to show you once you get inside of teams, some of the things you can do. So you can see all these different type of teams here. This is my development. Obviously, I'm not actually in these contests, but a bunch of prime times we ran, tests on, RotoWire, Ultimate. So I have all these different kind of teams here, and I just want to point that out. I'm going to go into this team just to technically in a prime time zone. So a couple things I want to share. So here, it shows you my roster. It's going to default to transactions set lineups. That's where it defaults during the season. Transactions set lineup. That's the default. Now, when you're in here, there's a couple different things that we've added along the years, and people don't always know where they are. So first I want to show you is player shares. That tells you how many times you own a guy. So I'm going to click on that. All right, so you have a filter here. This basically is saying I have Devontae Adams on 6 teams, and that shows you the percentage. So whatever that is, I don't know how many total teams that is, whatever. looks about 22, 23 teams. Basically, I have, because it's saying on 26.1% of my teams, I have Devontae Adams, and I have 6 shares of him. So now let's just say, if you saw on the front, I had 4 primetime teams, I believe. Right. So now it's going to tell me, now if I filter by primetime, it's going to tell me that I have in primetimes 1 share of Andrew Luck, and that's on 25% of my primetime team. So on one of my 4 teams, I have Andrew Luck. One of my 4 teams, I have James Conner, and so on. And that'll work for different, you can filter by different, whatever you want, draft champions, silver bullet. Silver bullet can be a great competition, by the way. 180 teams max. Get on in. Everyone's got 1 entry shot, $1,000 entry, $30,000 grand prize. We need to get that contest filled, but get in on that one. That's going to be a good one. So that's player shares in a nutshell. That's where you do that. Also ADP. You can get this from a few different spots, but average draft position. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. There's a few nuances with it, but as we pull down here, again, everything always starts with the filters, right? So it's showing me Todd Gurley from these draft dates, so basically when we started back in February, and it's basically defaulting to everything. So if you don't want to know, if what cut lines combined, these are all 12 teamers, 4 teams would be classic or big satellites, you can choose. So let's just say you're interested in where he's being drafted, in classics and or 14 team satellites. Now we haven't had any classic drafts yet, but we've had some 14 team satellites. So again, this is just development. This isn't don't take this at full grain value here, but let's just say, so basically it's saying, there's been 4 of these leagues. Todd Gurley's had a min of 1, a max of 1, so he's been drafted first every single time. So it shows you his ADP. Now this will change. This would change if you're looking at different types of contests. If you did them all, that's the default to all. If you wanted all drafts, you can look at average auction. I mean, you can look at different things here. You can look by positions, teams. I don't know if that does a lot for you, but and that just shows you different teams from each thing. So basically, ADP is that's where ADP is, and you again filter on what you're looking for, because there are different filters that are going to pull different things. I mean, if you're looking simply on cut line values, obviously you can't have draft champions. You'd have to change that to cut lines. So 10 team cut lines, right? All cut lines are 10 teams, so that's basically a double thing there. But you can it would change stuff. So cut lines have 260 players drafted, right? So it's there's 260 people that get drafted in every cut line. There's 26 round, 10 teams in it. So anyone not drafted in a cut line would get a 261 value for a cut line. I don't know if that'll show that on there. This will definitely show you on production. But, anyone not drafted in any type of draft gets the next number. So if you're talking about a 12-team league that has 20 rounds, you're talking about 240 guys. So anyone not drafted in there would get a draft value of 241 when you're looking at min and max values and figuring that into the equation. So you do have to figure that into equations. If that doesn't make sense, go ahead and email me after. But I just wanted to point that out. Some people aren't necessarily thinking about that when they're looking at these ADPs, and we get a bunch of questions on that. So that's essentially that. I am, again, in this primetime team showing you here. Now we're going to get into the FAAB. So basically everything done FAAB, transactions, free agents. Okay, this is where everything essentially starts from. One of the things we get questions about is the watch list. Watch lists are universal, and I'll kind of show you what that means in a minute. But here, these eyes right here, they're in gray. These are essentially watch list buttons. You can filter by buttons on. So if you created a watch list, and I'll show you real quick, but you can filter by both. The default is just sitting there like that. Again, everything in here it's showing you is free agents. You can actually look at everybody that's owned. If I change that to owned, these are people that are owned, right? It tells you the owner here. So when you go into FAAB, usually you're looking at for free agents, right? I mean, that's the point. But anyways, let's just do this real quick. So I'm going to talk about the watch list. So let's say I come in here and for whatever reason and you can add people to a watch list from a few different spots. It works from FAAB. So if I do let's say I do Eli Manning and Sam Darnold, adding to my watch list. Your universal watch list is on a league page. Every league page will have the same thing. So if I go to league home, it's going to bring me to my league home page. You can see Eli Manning and Sam Darnold were added to my universal watch list. This is across all leagues. So if I go just into, say, a different team, let's go just real quick just to show you that it works. I was in that top primetime team. I'm going to go into, let's just say I'll go into this satellite team, which also has FAAB, transactions, free agents. Again, it might be a lot of the same free agents, but let's change positions real quick. Let's go down to wide receivers. All right, Keelan Cole I'm also wanting to add. So now when I go to this league home, it's this league home's page, but as you can see, my watch list is universal. You can take guys off from here. Let's say Keelan Cole, and I take off Sam Darnold. Let's leave Eli there. If I refresh that, you'll just see Eli. Now, if we go back into transactions, this isn't the same league I put Eli in, but he should still be there, assuming he's actually a free agent, and he is. So you can still see he stays there. You can see the I. You can also add people from their player card. So here's the I here on the player card. If I uncheck Eli, he will be gone from the universal watch list. When I go back into this, when I click this out, you're still going to see Eli here. If I actually refresh this, he will disappear. The blue eye will disappear from there. It just has to talk to each other from that player card to this. But if I go back into now league home, there won't be anyone on my watch list. See, it's empty. So that's how you use the watch list and the eyes. Works across all your leagues. No matter what league you add and what home league you go to, it's going to be, again, it's universal. So all of them will be there. That's using the watch list. Let's go back into transactions, free agents again. Again, I'm going to go back to this. Let's just use Darnold again. Okay, player card. This is what we talk about when we do a player card. Anywhere in the NFFC system, if you click on someone's name, which I did here in free agency, but you can also do it from news or any other place, from your lineups, transaction set lineups. Anywhere you see news of a guy and there's a link to him, you can click on it. You'll get this. It shows you news, season log, game logs last year, all that kind of stuff. Free agency is the one I think that we should talk about the most. Now, this is where you can basically see, okay, let's say it's mid-season now, week 8, and you're thinking about picking up Sam Darnold. You click on him from free agency or from wherever, you get to his player card and you click on that free agency tab. This will now show you all the leagues that he's available in where it says free agent, yes, you can bid on him. So if I click on this, it shows me my budget in said league, in that league, allows me to bid whatever. You can type anything you want in there. $662 or whatever. And then it allows you to pick one player to drop. So let's just say I'm dropping Quincy Enunwa at this point. You can save it. Now, when I go back into this league, and you can go right, there's a FAAB page link right there. I don't even have to be in this league at this point to get back there. If I go to FAAB page, now you'll see that bid that I made. There's the Darnold, there's the bid, there's the Enunwa drop. Now, at this point, I can do conditional bids, all that stuff, which I'm going to show you soon, but I can do all that once I'm in there like that. So that is essentially using the player card to see who's a free agent and who's not. Now, there were leagues there. If you go back and check, you can see that there were leagues there that he was not a free agent in. Obviously, you can't bid on someone there. But that's how the player card works for that. So that's a great little tool that was available last year. I'm not sure a lot of people used it. So now let's kind of get into just a FAAB list. I'm going to just erase Darnold here for the heck of it, and we'll just start new. All right, so we're in here. We're in a league. This is where we're at, transactions, free agents. This might bring me back to a different league. Anyways, okay, so we're here. We're going to do some free agency. So let's just say we need a quarterback. So we'll build a list starting with Stafford. All right, there you click on Matt Stafford. This blue tab means, okay, click on him, that's the guy I want. Now, from here, again, some of you know this very well, but here's where you add conditional bids. So let's say I'm building a claim list here. Whatever you have in for Matt Stafford here, I have $1. Whatever I now add will come in at the same price. So let's just say I went Fitzpatrick, Mariota, both come in at $1. No big deal. I think everyone gets that. Click out. Now you see I've lost my little red X because I was messing around. It goes away. So now if I actually clicked on Fitzpatrick, it would add a new claim list. That's not exactly what I'm trying to do here. So let's just get rid of that. Now back to the, now you see the red X, that means these turn green. So now you have the ability to build a claim list. So let's go Flacco, Josh Rosen, etc., etc. Again, you can move them out. Let's just say now I change Stafford. Let's say, okay, I'm going to do $9 on Stafford. Hit the conditional. Any guy you get now is going to come in at that $9 price. Watch. Bortles, Mariota, boom, boom, 9-9. Okay, no big deal. So let's say all of a sudden, let's just back that out. Let's say all of a sudden I want Mariota only for $5. Now you notice there's no red X's anywhere. So anytime if I go add, this is back to blue, it's going to add a new claim list. Now I can go like this real quick. Put the X on Mariota. So now the conditionals are going to feed off Mariota. So now if I add Tannehill, he's going to come in for $5. There you go. Okay, so I don't think that's anything crazy. Just the red X tells you what bid the next guy is going to come in at. If I click off that, okay, now I'm ready. If I wanted to, it would be a new thing. But here's something I want to show you. Now you can use the up and down arrows. They use fine. Or you can use a drag and drop, whatever you prefer to use. Up and down arrows tend to work better on the iPads, and this works fine for here. So now you can basically pull guys through. So let's say, just real quick, I want to show you. Let's say I'm going to make Tannehill $2. You can do that at any time. Of course, you have to save it for it all to register. So let me show you that real quick. Saving. Okay, so here's something I want to show you. Drop player in list 1 cannot be in. So you can't save a list without actually putting someone to drop. So being that I'm at the top, whatever guy I choose to drop here, let's just make it easy, Taylor Gabriel, he's going to filter all the way down. That happens when you use the top. It will not, if I change here, it will not filter down. Let's say for whatever reason, if I'm dropping Mariota, I just want to drop the Redskins defense. It will only populate from the middle. It only cascades down from the top one. Now if I go back here and change to Ebron's going to filter all the way down. So that's how that works. So if you're doing from the top, it'll filter down. If it's not from the top, it'll only take the one place where you do it from. Okay, so let's say we're building our list. We got Ebron in there, doesn't really matter. Now if I take Mariota and pull him through Tannehill, he's going to go down to $2 because he went through the Tannehill $2. That's a way to move guys around and not have to change their prices by actually getting in the box and typing. Now, if I move Tannehill up over Stafford, he's going to go through the 9 and become a $9 player. That's how that all works, okay? Nothing hard. I think we've had that for baseball. I think we actually had that for football last year, so nothing brand new there. What is new is the waterfall bid, and I want to show you this. This is for making quick changes or doing second lists, if you will, I guess. So let's say I'm going to do a brand new list. We'll get rid of everybody. Let's just, for the sake of having fun, change positions. All right, we're going to build a wide receiver list here. Jameson Crowder is going to be first on my list. And I'm going to make a conditional list, and I'm going to add DeMarcus Robinson, Laquan Treadwell, for whatever reason why someone would do that, and Ryan Switzer. All right, we got a four-person list there. Let's just make a drop. Ebron again, okay. We got a list. Now, let's say I don't want this to be $1. I know I added everyone at $1, but right now I can change it and make everybody the same price. So it's always going to filter from the X, and it has to be on the top here, and you have to have an X, but this is how the waterfall will work. Let's say you want to make all these guys $8 real quick. All you got to do is put an 8 in there, click the water drop here for waterfall, or 81, doesn't matter, whatever, and it'll filter all the way down. That only happens from the top down. It's called the waterfall. It won't do it if I tried it from here. I'll just show you real quick. 76 waterfall. Oh, it does waterfall. It does. Okay, great. Looks like we made. Okay, that's something I didn't know. It will waterfall down from where you are. Everything below it. Good to know. That's actually better. So it'll do that from the red X on the way down. It obviously won't go up. It goes down like a waterfall. So perfect. Brand new news. That's even for me. That's something that must have just been added. Okay. So that's how the waterfall works. Reason that works good is for, let's say you want 2 wide receivers, so you want 2 of these guys. Let's close it off, make it conditional. Okay, so let's say I saved it. You don't have to save it. You can do this without saving. I'll do it without saving. Here's the copy claim list. What this does, it'll copy exactly what you have. So same list shows up, same everything. Now let's say you don't want one of these. Let's say you want 2 of these guys, but obviously you're not going to want to pay the same price. So where this comes in again is you can come in here, type it, make sure it's there, put the cursor back in there, waterfall it down. So now you got a $7 bid on all these real quick. So it's an easy way to change the prices without having to manually do all of them. So use that as you see fit. I think it's a very good tool. very helpful when you're making quick lists, quick changes, and doing things like that where you need to change prices, but you won't have to manually type it in. So that's the easiest way to do it. Now again, then here you can come and change anything you want. You know, $2 there. So if you're pulling guys down, again, you're going to see all that working all the way through. So that's kind of everything we have for FAAB. I mean, again, you play around with it, get used to it. And again, obviously you're going to want it, obviously in this claim list, you want to change it to a different drop, because otherwise wouldn't be able to get someone in that second list if you have Ebron as a drop, because you have Ebron as a drop on the top one. And if a guy's not there to be able to be dropped because you won someone from the first, you're not gonna get anyone on the second list. So, okay, that's your list. You save them, it'll spin. Here's one thing that we've added. We've had it for a couple years now, but I don't know that a lot of people use it. This is a great way when you're done with your FAAB for the week or at any point, but for sure when you're done, and it's a few minutes to the deadline, you're gonna want to check this. Transactions pending FAAB. This will show you now. Here's the one list that we just created because we were on that time team. But what it would do is it will show you all your leagues that are FAAB eligible, prime time, and it will show you your bid lists on all your teams. Now we didn't make any other FAAB lists on any other teams, but again, just trust me that if I had bid lists on any of these other ones, they would be there. You'd see the same thing. This shows you the bid, the list, the drop, and the prices for all the people. So it's a safety check. So if you accidentally screwed this up and this was 810, this would be a place you could see it. Now, if you see a mistake, let's say this is shit, I don't want to spend $81 on Jamison Crowder. If you click FAAB page here, it will go to that league, and that league's FAAB page, pull you right back. You can say, damn it, that's a mistake. That should have been $8 for these guys. Do it, waterfall it down, save it. It will go all the way down. There you can see it. There you got your $8 bid, fixed, saved. So if we went back to, I'll just show you that it works. Back to transactions, pending FAAB. There you go. Now you see the new bid list worked again. So again, use that. Please use that. You wouldn't believe every week we have people sending emails saying they screwed up and they spend too much on somebody, and that's something we can't change. It's a mistake. We feel bad, but that it's happened, and our policy is we cannot change winning bids. So please, transactions, pending FAAB, use it every week. Use it a couple times. Good way to summarize your FAAB pickups and drops too, to make sure you're not dropping someone that you don't want to be dropping. So that's your final safety check. So that is, I think, covers a lot of stuff. I went longer than I wanted to do. I don't like to hear my own voice. I'm sure you guys don't like to hear it this long. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me for sure. Otherwise, we're going to post this obviously this is in a thread. So any questions, feel free to drop them right here in the thread, and Greg or Tom and I will come and answer them. If I need to do another video, if you think I'm missing something, I have no problem doing another video, but I think this covers most of the bases that we need at this point. So there you go. Again, have any questions, let me know.